Welcome. My name is Casey Powell. I am a student in the Business Administration program focused on human resources management. This is my last semester, so I'm really excited. Been a long journey. I work full time at UNC in the laboratory. I've been working in laboratories for about 20 years. Well, it'll be 20 years in March, so 20 years. Um, and I'm just looking for just a small little transition from, the more involved role of laboratory tech work to the administrative side of work. Doesn't even really have to be involved with the laboratory at all. I'm a mother of 3 children. I'm on the back nine. My youngest is 18. He graduates in June this year, so I'm also excited about that. My oldest is an agricultural sustainable conservationist. And my middle son is a land surveyor. And so we're outside people. I don't know if you can tell. I also have a small ranch that I run with me and my partner. We have over 20 goats, approaching 30 here soon, 30 plus actually. And we have some chickens, and we try to live a more sustainable life. Not completely sustainable yet, but I am decreasing my carbon footprint. That is the goal. Very small carbon footprint. I am the oldest of 8 children. I'm the person that everybody calls for answers. I guess they think I've been here a really long time, but this is not true. I do give advice. Everybody thinks I'm the smartest, but they don't know I learn a lot from them. All of my siblings, all of my children, all of my family members. I learn so much from them, and they kind of keep me on my toes. So I have to keep learning, so they keep learning. So, you know, they don't know. They don't know how they push me, but they do. I have really enjoyed working in the laboratory. I've had some really good experiences in the laboratory. I've learned a lot, not just about, the lab work in the medical field, but also about people and interacting with different people and personalities and different situations. I've had some really great leaders, managers, supervisors. Probably my favorite supervisor was my second job out of school. Was when I came to Chapel Hill. I'd worked in Greensboro previously for about 3 years, and then I found a job in Chapel Hill, and she was the best. She was very hands-on. She taught us everything. If she was away, we could continue running a very well-oiled machine. She was very personable, but she was also very assertive. She stood up for us, was, made sure we had everything we needed, and she did not back down, and I really admired that about her, and I learned a lot about standing your ground from her. And so, that's something that I carry with me, to be professional and make sure you get your point across, and make sure you're not taken advantage of or left out, or, that you don't miss things. And so, that's put me in a position. I'm not a lead tech. However, I do handle quality assurance for my job. Anywhere, any area I've worked in, I'm a go-to person for answers. I don't often toot my own horn, but you know what? As I get older, I'm learning that I should, because I do have a lot of knowledge in many areas, not just in laboratory, in life, in parenting, in religious beliefs. I am a believer of God, and that's what I follow. And so, I try to live my life that way. And so, that manager that I had back when I first started at UNC, she really taught me a lot. And, I carry that with me to this day. Now, I've had a not so pleasant experience with a manager, which was my first job. She was she had been in the laboratory at that time as long as I have been now, so over 25 years, I believe. And things were changing. Technical things were changing. Technology was advancing, and I think it was just more of a lack of communication. So she really didn't understand so much as things were changing, and so I didn't really learn as much from her as it pertains to the technical aspect of work. But what I did learn was that I don't want to stop learning. I don't want to get behind. So I continue to learn always, because I don't ever want to be in a position where I feel like I can't lead or guide people who are looking to me for guidance and leadership. So that was probably one of the less pleasant experiences I had. As far as motivation is concerned, I am, number one, now at this point in my life, motivated by retirement. I am 45 years old, and that's young to some people, but that's old when it comes to retirement, because I don't have much longer to figure out how I will sustain the rest of my life once I do decide to retire, which won't be long. I have 20 more years. These first 20 years went by really fast in the work field, and so 20 years will go by fast again, and it will be time for me to retire. And I don't want to have to work hard and continue working until I can't go anymore. So everything I do now is me planning for retirement and planning for my aging body, my aging mind. And so I don't want to work my body, my physical body, too hard and not be able to enjoy retirement. So even if I were to retire and be able to maintain financially, will I be able to physically maintain, a good, healthy, active lifestyle? So that's my main motivator. I don't so much worry about my children anymore now that they're older and I see they're on their own paths and their own journey. That was in the past my motivator, to make sure my kids were okay. But, I think they're going to be okay. And let's see, a hard conversation. I don't know if it was so much a hard conversation, because I don't know, I don't consider conversations hard, but I do consider conversations difficult, maybe to start and convey your intentions. So I think a more difficult conversation I had was when I started in the second year of this business administration program, and I realized that eventually I'm going to be transitioning out of the laboratory. And so I do have a pretty good rapport with my managers and upper management, and so I just wanted to share with them what my plans and intentions were, so that when it comes time for me to transition out of the laboratory, they have the opportunity to get a chance to replace me with somebody who can, take over the tasks that I do, because I am on a few committees. I'm on the lab advisory committee. I'm on the staff engagement and enrichment committee. Like I mentioned before, I handle a lot of quality assurance stuff, and I'm a person that answers a lot of questions for people. Again, I'm not a lead or anything. It's just things I've taken on, the tasks I've taken on, and so somebody will have to replace me when I'm gone. So I had to go to my manager and let her know that I was entering my second year of a program, and that my plan was to transition out of the laboratory, maybe take on a more of administrative role, and to let her know that, if I could find a position within the organization that I'm currently with, that I would. But that may not be the case, and I still wanted to let them know what my plans are. And I was really nervous about it. It took me about 2 weeks to start the conversation. I was seeking advice from many different people, my family, my partner, and everybody was like, just tell them, because it shouldn't affect your job. I've never been in that position, and to me that was a big hurdle to cross, because I've never had to go to a manager or upper management to discuss a situation like that. And she was very excited for me, And she was very grateful that I let her know ahead of time. So I'm really glad that I did have that conversation, even though it was a little difficult for me to get to that point. And so, that's my life. Again, my name is Casey. Anybody has any questions, you can ask me. That's probably part of my problem, because I'll answer some questions. I like to answer questions. So I'm signing off. Have a wonderful day.